Welcome to another segment of Taking My Life Back, the movement. I'm Apostle Regina Holiday, the founder and president of Taking My Life Back. Thank you guys so much for stopping by to hear what we're going to be sharing on today. You guys are in for a treat. We are still talking about the blended family. You guys know I told you that I'm hijacking my children and I'm getting them to come on the show to share their blended family story. So last month we had my daughter Brianna. She did such a great job in sharing being a part of a blended family from her perspective. So today we have another brave soldier that's consented to come and to share his story. But before we introduce him to you, so you know it's one of my sons, right? Before we introduce him to you, I want to tell you a little bit about Taking My Life Back, the movement. I always start with telling you just a brief story of why I started this movement. Those of you already know the story, just bear with me. But those of you that haven't heard it, I started this movement after my husband had a massive stroke 6 years ago. He was in the hospital for 40 days. We went through a really traumatic time, not knowing if he was going to live or die. But what happened for me, God began to deal with me about me taking care of myself. I'm sure if you guys have ever had anything to happen and you've had to be present and pour yourself into that particular thing, it's easy to lose yourself. So the Lord told me that I needed to take my life back. So he started me on a journey. But even before I started the journey, he gave me a revelation to understand that this started in my life a long time ago. I was always the one trying to help everybody else, but I didn't know how to help myself. I didn't know how to take care of myself. So this is how the movement started. So now I'm on a journey to take my life back, to do the things that I need to do for me. And that looks different every day. What I've decided to do, in addition to me just taking the journey, I've decided to bring other people along with me. So if you're interested in sharing your story, I want you to go to the website. It's reginaholidayministries.com. And I want you to follow the instructions there. There are 2 simple steps. You share your story on the Take My Life Back page, and then you go to the products and services page and you simply purchase your t-shirt, and then you are a Taking My Life Back warrior. So I'm not going to belabor the time, as I always say. So the Taking My Life Back warrior that we have on for the blended family edition is none other than my oldest son, Gregory Luckett Jr. Let's welcome him. Welcome, Gregory. Welcome.
Thanks, Mom, for having me. Apostle Regina Holiday, thank you for having me.
It's Mom. I'm Mom. It's fine. But I'm so glad that you consented to do this. It takes a lot to stand, to get in front of people and to share, to talk, or whatever it is you decide to say. It's not always easy, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's not always easy, but thank you for having me. I do appreciate being a guest, and your success is definitely something I'm proud of. So,
thank
to
you.
be a part of the show is definitely a blessing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely good to be here.
It's good to have you.
Yeah.
It's good to have you. Well, we're going to get started. We're going to get right into it. So we're going to ask you a few questions. We definitely want the Lord to have his way. We're not scripted. There are a few questions I have, but however the Lord leads us, that's how we're going to go.
Okay.
All right. So Gregory, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Gregory?
That's a good question. Sometimes I don't even know, but I grew up in a couple of different neighborhoods, but initially I grew up on the lower part of Chicago in a poverty-stricken neighborhood. My mother had me very young. She was 15 years old, and my grandparents were responsible for me a lot of the time while she went to school, and eventually got a job in the nursing field. Myself, up until 6th grade, I was in one neighborhood. George T. Donahue was the grammar school that I went to.
Me too.
On 38th and Ellis.
Mm-hmm.
Then we moved to the Jeffrey Manor, where, I started to grow into my teenage years. I think I was 12 years old when we moved. My grandmother had passed away, and my grandfather, he was with us. And it was just me, my mom, and my sister.
Mhm.
So I had to navigate through life. My dad, he was there, but he has his own issues. But trying to navigate as a young man, um, growing up in Chicago is definitely a challenge in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
And God was definitely in my life from the beginning. I suffered from asthma as a young kid, was in and out of the hospital.
Mhm.
So it took God really to keep me
Mhm.
here on earth and to keep me on the right path.
Yeah.
A lot of my cousins growing up, they um, had the same choices that I had, uh, but a lot of them made bad decisions and ended up in jail and things like that. A lot of my friends too. So
Mhm.
that was uh, that was pretty much my struggle growing up, trying to avoid going to jail, getting in trouble, and things like that.
Mhm.
That's really what it was about. So, not having a father around made it more challenging. I had male figures in my life, but it was challenging based on decision making
Mhm.
because you have a lot of people that don't make good decisions when you're going through life, and it's so easy to make mistakes. So
Mhm.
that's who I am, just a person who tried to avoid making critical mistakes, taking care of my little sister while my mom was working. That was a big part of my life growing up. Now I'm a father, five beautiful children, uh, been married twice. So it's definitely uh, been a big responsibility for me to make sure that I'm in my kids' life. And when I was married, being in my stepkid's life as well. So
Mhm.
um, I take pride in trying to be the best person that I can be, a God fearing man, as well as teaching my sons, who I'm responsible for full time now, to work hard, keep God first, and also um, set your goals high and chip away at them piece by piece to get there. So
Wow.
um, I know
Wow.
it's a lot, but
No, it's fine. It's fine.
it's definitely so much more. But
Yeah.
that's just a brief introduction.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is really something, Greg. You said a lot. And as your mother raising you, I couldn't
Mhm.
teach you how to be a man. Now, and still
Exactly.
some things in you that
Mhm.
I knew, but at 15, how much did I really know? Right. And
Mhm.
we've gone through some things because of that, but God has gotten us through those things, and I'm grateful, so grateful to God. But you said something,
Mhm.
being a young man trying to navigate and
Yes.
make the right decisions,
Mhm.
and of course I knew that I had to work, because I didn't want to be a statistic. I wanted to take care of my children. So I made the
Yeah.
decision to go to nursing school and just have a career instead of just a job.
Yeah.
So and that left you and your sister in a place where my mom did take care of you guys while I was working. But you said something too, and I really didn't understand the
Mhm.
level of it because that's what really this is about, and we're going to get more into the blended part as
Mhm.
we in just a few minutes. But I just want to talk to you about the what you said. You were trying to navigate and taking care of your little sister, and
Mhm.
I had no idea that you took on the level of responsibility for her that you did. Even though
Mhm.
you guys were there when you got a little older, I would leave you guys together, but I
Mhm.
always made sure that somebody was there to supervise you. But you took on, and I know that's probably just a natural thing to do. This is your little sister there, and
Mhm.
I just
Mhm.
came it just came to me over the last few years that there was a level of responsibility that you felt, even though I
Mhm.
never told you, oh, you the man of the house, this is your responsibility. I think as a man, as a young boy, you
Mhm.
know you take that responsibility on just naturally. You got a little sister, or if some older siblings have little brothers or whatever, there's a level of responsibility that you automatically attach to yourself. Talk
Yes.
to me about that a little bit.
Yes, definitely. So, as you were talking, a few things went through my mind, especially about um, the athletes nowadays. If you
Mm,
think about the athletes, a lot of them, when they get money, the first thing that they'll say is, "I'm gonna buy my mom a house,
mm-hmm.
buy my mom a car,"
Right.
things like that. So, um, that shows that we are lacking positive male figures in the black community, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
But also, me stepping up to the plate and taking care of my sister was just that, something that needed to be done. I recognized your hard work and
Mm-hmm.
you going to work all the time. And it just spilled over as me playing my part. It kept me out of trouble a lot of the time as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I can remember one time you had paid all the bills and you was like, wow, we only have $17 left. So all these was right around the corner. So she said, well, get this, this, and that. And, back then, all these was very affordable. So with that $17, I went to the grocery store and came back with 3 to 4 bags of groceries. And it was everything that we needed for about a week or until mom got paid again.
Mm-hmm.
So that made me feel validated as a man and playing my role, trying to find my way and trying to emulate what I've seen other men do for their family. So, yeah, it was definitely a protection because I was able to stay out of trouble. Um, Also, I didn't want to let you down. You're at work. You see so many times kids get in trouble when their parents not around. So that was pretty much the best that I can do as a son to take care of my sister and keep everything in order until you came back home. Because I remember you would call and say, "Hey, I'm doing a double today." I'm like, "Okay, well, we got spaghetti in there, so we were okay. As long as you knew that we were okay, then you could work to keep the roof over the head, over our heads, and stuff like that." So I was just really playing my part. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's something. I think a lot of kids do feel the burden of their parents, when they see
yes,
their parents trying to do
hmm
the best that they can. And
yes,
I hope that even in that, I always say, whether it's me as your parent or whomever else, whatever I did right, you take that and you carry that with you. But whatever I didn't do right,
hmm
don't do it. Don't do it. And that's how I'm really frank and I'm really open, especially with my grandchildren now, because I believe that we can learn a lot, or we teach a lot by not even opening up our mouths. And we're not perfect. We will do some things and we will mess up. And my thing is, do what you see me do right. But don't, if you see me do something wrong, make sure you mark that down as something that you will never do. So that's a way of teaching as well. But I want to move on to, let's fast forward a little bit
hmm
and let's talk about um, what it was like for you being a part of a blended family. Or I won't say growing up, because you were like 17, right?
yes.
Like 17.
I can remember. I believe I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, maybe 17.
Turning 18.
Yeah, because I remember one of the most memorable things was going to college at 18, and then you guys getting married. So
Mm-hmm.
that was, like the marking point of, you know, uh,
Yeah.
you guys getting married and everyone coming together as a family.
Yeah. Yeah. So now after we got married,
hmm
tell us about, because I believe that one of the things I realized later on, of course, was that like you and your sister, we had our family established.
hmm
And so here comes this man with these other kids.
Mhm.
And you know, everybody, because Brianna's experience was different because she was 3.5 years old, right? Jerome's is going to be different when he shares his because he was 5.
Right.
You were 17, almost 18, so you were a full adult, a young
Yes.
adult.
Yes.
So your perspective is going to be different. One of the things that I realized was because there was a level of responsibility that you took for me as well as your sister.
Mhm.
I never gave it to you, but just as a young man, you felt the level of responsibility. So
Definitely.
here comes this man,
Mhm.
and I, you know, no disrespect to my husband at all, but you know, just saying it in that sense of, you know, as a young man thinking, okay, here the man comes now. What role do I play? Where is my place in the family now?
Yes.
Because even though you weren't the man of the family, you took the role of protecting your sister, and even to some degree feeling like you were responsible for protecting me as your mother.
Yes.
And that's a role, that's a thing that young men, I think that it's an automatic in a lot of instances.
Exactly.
So what was it like when you realized that mama is married now? The role that you had, you know, well, maybe mama don't need me now, you know, because she got a husband now. So where do I fit in? Was that your experience, or let's talk about that a little bit?
Okay. It was definitely a challenge because I was in the situation was a place of dysfunction for me to number one be in the house and being the man of the house, but not actually being the man of the house. But I can remember my grandfather before he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he told me, he said, "Well, make sure you take care." He said, "You the man of the house now."
So he told you that.
Yeah, so
Oh, I
I
didn't know
took it
that.
very seriously.
Yeah.
And that was something that really put me in a place of being able to see the dysfunction.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it was definitely something that um, was a challenge because, you know, it was like, well, who is this guy? But it was a good thing though,
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, he had a car that he let me drive. You know, I was able to go put gas in the cars and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I just wanted to make sure that you were okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I saw that he was taking good care of you. And it was a big void there once, you know, I had to step away from that place.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also a relief because that wasn't my position.
Right. Right.
You know, so God moved in that situation to allow me to um, uh, live my own life and move on and have my own life in further down the line.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely was challenging because a lot of the things that I was doing around the house, um, you know, it was almost like I wasn't needed anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
even though that wasn't true, that
Right.
was the feeling, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And being so used to the lack, because it was a lack, you know, financially,
Mm-hmm.
things weren't there, but I was still in this role.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of felt like, you know, oh, well, that's my mother at some points. You know, it was rough at some times,
Mm-hmm.
but it worked itself out with God in the middle
Yeah.
of it. So it left me feeling with mixed feelings, really, because you know, at one point I was happy for you, but then another point I'm like, oh, my mama gone, and,
Right.
you know,
Bittersweet. Right.
yeah. So and then Tia developed a relationship with him,
Yeah.
and their relationship was really close.
Yeah.
On one side, I was very happy for her,
Mm-hmm.
definitely because she was able to, you know, develop into a great young lady,
Mm-hmm.
and he helped to get her to where she is today.
Yeah.
And he really helped all of us,
Yeah.
but it was just a change aspect.
Yeah, but I know that that had to be really hard for you. And like you said, bittersweet. It's like, okay, my mom got somebody that really loves her, that's really looking out, and my sister, you know, but you wouldn't accept it because, and I understand, now I understand why, because you lost your place. You had to
Exactly.
be reestablished in the
Mhm.
family to say, hey, you're
Yeah.
just as valuable, but now you, instead of you being in this role that you put yourself in, because I
Mhm.
have to clarify that I never put you in the role, but
Mhm.
that's just because you're a son, you love your mother, you love your sister, you
Mhm.
you took responsibility for. and
Yes.
and now that we can talk about this, but
Mhm.
before we couldn't even put words to this because we
Exactly.
didn't know what was going on, so it was
Right.
really hard for you,
Mhm.
and it was difficult. But now that we're here, talk about some of the good things that you benefited from
Mhm.
being a part of this blended family.
Well, definitely. So I was able to um, go on to college and pursue my own life, like I said before, because being concerned, and trying to be there for you, as well as my little sister. If uh, Jeff never came around,
Mm-hmm.
then I probably would have changed my thought process about
Mm.
going to college, going away to college
Yeah.
for the little time that I did, and just trying to make sure that things were okay for the sake of my little sister as well.
Yeah.
With you being the breadwinner at that point,
Mm-hmm.
so with him coming along, it allowed me to get back to my regular life and learn how to live my life as a regular 18-year-old. We it's so many uh, young kids out here that's responsible for other young kids,
Yeah.
not just a little sister,
Mm-hmm.
but a little brother, several siblings, and things like that. And that puts a burden on them.
Yeah.
So that burden was removed, you know, by the grace of God with him coming along.
Mm-hmm.
And not to mention the foundation that he was trying to instill in us with going to church and having a relationship with God,
Mm-hmm.
which is definitely a big part of my life. That has helped tremendously in all aspects of my life. So um, that was number one. Uh, him being a man that was trying to go seek after God at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, he was a positive example from the beginning, and uh, that always supportive, and was that person in the home that uh, gave me that extra backing that I didn't have. So I can remember having some challenges in school, not making a basketball team, things like that, and I really had to go through that just me and you.
Yeah.
So that was kind of challenging, but
Yeah.
um, I he actually got me a good job, and it was good um, from that aspect, having my back, having a little cushion,
Mm-hmm.
someone to talk to, um, and he really brought our entire family together, as far as going to church and people giving their life to the Lord and things like that. I believe he got at least 10 of our family members saved,
Mm-hmm.
if not more. So
Yeah.
that was definitely a plus.
Yeah.
And taking care of you and knowing that you were well taken care of
Mm-hmm.
was definitely the biggest thing for me. I can remember when you guys got the first house fixed, got it remodeled and things like that. And I was like, wow, this is really nice. Like, like, okay, I can see it really paying off. But that was a materialistic thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it still gave me a sense of comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when just a few years ago, I, you know, I didn't know how things were going to end up.
Yeah.
So it gave me more vision to be able to focus on living a functional life,
Mm-hmm.
um, and having him uh, backing me,
Mm-hmm.
you know, even now,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Talk about that. Tell us what your relationship is like with him now.
the relationship now is not as close as I would like it to be, but it's close. I'm not able to come down and hang out with him and work out with him like I want to, but it's A+ to me. You know, it's A+ to me. He's definitely a great friend. With that being said, you know, I think he's almost like that friend that you have from high school that you was really close with, that you don't talk to all the time, but every time you see him, it's always right back picking up where you left off at. So, yeah, I can't say anything negative about it because it's been all positive. Even when I expect the negative, you know, it's always a plus. And you know, growing up, it was all, you know, you have those things that you deal with at times in life where you fall back into those kind of thought processes. And so being able to have him there to call and talk to at any time, you know, doesn't allow those things to settle. You know, it doesn't allow them to settle in to manifest in a negative way where you've taken steps back. So I've made several steps forward. He's a great listener, gives great advice. So yeah, I feel like I'm, you know, like one of the blessed ones when it comes to relationships that are blended. You know, because we do know there's a negative aspect to that sometimes too. But it has been all tens. You know, it's been all tens. You know, he's just, you know, got one of the purest hearts that you can that you can want to have in a father. And you know, very forgiving, loving, encouraging. You know, and definitely the spiritual aspect is definitely number one. You know, lead me as a pastor and also as a dad. You know, even though the age gap is a little, it's a little challenging with that part, but
for you, it's challenging for you, right? Well, it was challenging for me at first too.
Yeah,
I was like, "Ooh, this got to be God."
Yeah, but it definitely, you know, God is amazing and allowing it to work. You know, not rushing things to the point where you're taking control of the situation. You know, so I've really just allowed God to move in the situation, to play my role, and focus on just trying to be the son, you know, the oldest son, to set the bar high for the other siblings.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let me jump in there.
Yeah.
So the other siblings, tell me what it was like. You know, it was you and Tia, and then Brianna and Jerome came along, and they were pretty young, 3 and 5.
Yeah.
So what was it like having a little brother and a little sister?
I think it was. I think it was. It was a blessing because I always wanted a little brother that I actually could like spend time with all the time. You know, I have 2 other brothers. You know, Craig and Paul, that are on my dad's side of the family. But you know, I struggled with trying to see Craig a lot of my younger life when I really felt like I wanted a brother and needed a brother. But having Jerome around, you know, was cool. He was way younger than me, but as he grew up, you know, we would battle in the video games and stuff like that. You know, Brianna, she was, you know, my sister. You know, she was, you know, they were younger than me, but having them around, you know, was always cool. And seeing where they are now, you can appreciate it more versus, you know, when they were just growing up and you see them, you know, a little bit at a time. But Jeff really worked hard to try to pull us together and make sure that everyone was there. Even Paviance, you know, he definitely included her in a lot of the things. You know, it wasn't too bad because it wasn't a sibling rivalry where, you know, you bring in another kid in that's the same age as you are. So it was just like I was the big brother, and it wasn't a debate about it, or it wasn't a fight about it. So, you know, that was that. It wasn't for them. You know, being a good example was definitely something that I wanted to be. you know, like I said, you know, growing up having younger cousins, not younger cousins as well, but you know, being so having it being so easy to fall victim to the things that's going on,
Yeah.
walking home from school, going
Yeah.
to school,
Yeah.
you know, having a big brother, that's the role that I play, you know, being some positive.
Mm-hmm.
Jerome, he actually went to school, went to UTI. No, he went to Lincoln Tech because I went to Lincoln Tech. I encouraged him to go, and he actually went.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, he pursued it, and that was a plus for him. It kept him out of trouble.
Yeah.
So um, it wasn't really a lot that I could do as a older brother then.
Now,
But
one thing Brianna said when she was on, she said, "Well, one of the benefits I had, I didn't have any brothers, from her mom
yeah,
and her dad. So she was like, if people started messing with her at school, she's like, okay, I'm gonna tell my brother. I'm gonna give my brother. She could say that,
right,
So
right,
she took
yeah,
pride in being able
definitely,
to say,
yes,
I got a big sister and I got two brothers, so I'm gonna tell my brothers and my sister
yeah,
if you don't stop messing with me. So
yeah,
that's one of the benefits
right,
that she said she saw in
yeah,
having being part of a blended family.
hmm,
But I want to shift just a little bit.
okay.
I don't know, are you familiar with this book?
Yes, that
Yep.
looks like you.
Of course it is me, but this book I wrote in 2018.
Yeah, I think I remember reading part of the book.
Okay.
How many books do you have now?
I have 3. But this book I wrote last year before last. Now this book I read the dedication to Brianna. I dedicated this book to Brianna and Jerome.
Right.
So, and those of you that heard me reading know I got teary-eyed and all of that reading the dedication to her, but I'm not gonna cry this time. Okay. I when I wrote this book, I dedicated this book to you.
Oh, right.
And I don't know if you even know that. It was 2018 when I wrote it. So
I think I was going through a lot.
Oh yeah. But now I got you here and you're sitting still.
Yes.
I want to read this dedication to you. I don't even remember what I said in it. And I made it a point not to read it again before. So I don't want no tissue because I'm not gonna cry. Okay.
This is a victorious moment.
Yeah.
At this point.
Okay. So dedication. This book is dedicated to my first. Oh my goodness. Okay. Come on, Gina, get it together. Whew. This book is dedicated to my firstborn son, Gregory Paul Luckett Jr. I know it's customary for the parent to teach the children, even as I was blessed to do, but you gave me the opportunity to learn about life and experience many things at a young age of 15 years old. As a child, every time I looked at your little face, I was more than determined than ever to push through whatever obstacles I had to face. You really were the wind beneath my wings. You gave me the stamina. Okay, y'all, we're not gonna make this happen. Woo, gosh. Woo.
You gotta keep reading that.
I'm gonna keep reading it. Ooh. Okay, you gave me the stamina and the strength to never quit. I'm so proud of the man and the father that you have become, despite the difficulties you have faced. We are both testimonies of God's great power. Okay, I'm grateful for what the Lord has done in your life and excited about what He has in store for your future. Continue to grow and always keep your hands in God's hand. This way, even if you fall, you will always get back up. Love, Mom. Whew, okay. I did it again, y'all. All right. Let the tears fall, right?
That was great. That was great.
But it's such a blessing to be able to, and I don't think Jerome probably don't realize the dedication. I know you didn't realize the dedication. And even with this, I let Tia write the foreword in this book. And of course, when I meet with her, I'm going to read the foreword to her that she wrote for the book. But 2 books that I've written, both of them encompasses the 4 of you.
That's beautiful.
So
that's beautiful.
Just knowing that this journey, sometimes we feel like we're on this journey and we're alone,
Hmm.
but even as I said, you have truly been the wind beneath my wings, you know, um, just thinking about all the times I've spent in the hospital with you when you were little and
Yeah.
going up to school when you went to kindergarten, how you cried. And Miss
Yeah.
Kurtz was your kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
Same kindergarten teacher I had.
Yes.
So, I
Yes.
mean, and you graduated from the same, no, you graduated from Medgar Evers, right?
Right.
Okay. But we went to the same grammar school,
Yes.
Donahue.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's amazing how we sit here now and we look at how God has kept us,
Exactly.
God has truly kept us, and God has great things in
Yes.
store for our lives. And it's truly a blessing to be your mom.
It's truly a blessing to be your son because,
Whew.
sometimes you don't have a good example of a mother.
Mm-hmm.
I know
Yeah.
guys whose mother was crackheads and,
Yeah.
you know, doing all the wrong things. So that was something that I never felt.
Yeah.
And seeing that, it was always another reason to be grateful,
Yeah. Yeah.
and uh, letting you down was really something that I didn't feel was necessary,
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you set your mind to something and you make up in your mind that that's what you want to do,
Yeah.
I always had in my mind that I wanted to be successful.
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
had it in my mind that I wanted to succeed and make it out to projects.
Yeah.
Education was so important then.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, well, wow, you really don't even need an education to do a lot of things to get money. But
Yeah.
that's what we were taught growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And having the example of my grandmother, your
Yeah.
mother,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
her husband,
Mm-hmm.
it instilled in me how things should be.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so the foundation was laid.
Yeah.
And I felt like if I didn't follow that, it would lead to destruction.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Absolutely. And I feel the
yeah,
same way, even
yeah,
growing up in the household and seeing so many different things.
yes,
My determination was, okay, I don't want to live this type of life. And I think it's all about choices, and
yes,
and we had choices, and definitely not where I want to be, and even today, but I'll continue to strive to try to get there and try to be
yes,
better. And that's what I think my upbringing afforded me to
yes,
say, this is not what I want.
right,
I want something different. I
exactly,
want a better life. And I
exactly,
think that was passed on to you. And sometimes it's
yes,
hard trying to get there. And,
yeah,
and we get up every day with that intention. Like, no, I'm not going back there. I used to be this or I used to do that, but I'm not doing that anymore. I'm moving forward to the place that I know God intends for me to be in life.
I definitely feel that taking my life back is definitely a movement
Yeah.
because, even when you make mistakes in life,
Yeah.
the next day or the next opportunity is a chance for you to take your life back.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
um, facing all those obstacles growing up and the challenges that we all face,
Yeah.
just making that decision to take your life back,
Yep. Yep.
to not be the victim, but to be the victor.
Yep.
It takes time. It's,
Mm-hmm.
having the right people around you,
Yeah.
getting the right counselor to help you. Like I said, with Jeff being a good person to talk to and giving me good advice,
Yeah.
that's definitely something that I would encourage the people out there to do.
Yeah.
Try to find you someone that's positive to help you
Mm-hmm.
work through those things
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
are challenging in your life that
Mm-hmm.
are slowing you down.
Right.
Because with God on your side, you're gonna be able to get there.
Yeah.
It's just important not to talk yourself out of those
Exactly.
things.
But keeping that vision in mind,
Yes, yes,
keeping it in front of you, even though you
exactly.
may feel like you're really far away from it a lot of days, and
Yeah,
probably wonder if you're gonna get there. But constantly keeping it in front of you, knowing
yes.
that it is a possibility.
So seeing you was that for me. So
Mm-hmm.
seeing you working hard
Yeah.
and sacrificing so much.
Yeah.
Not to say that I was better than any other friends that I had that had issues, that went to jail, went to prison, ended up, 6 feet under. It wasn't that. I just basically could have been that too. But having the opportunity and it being there, I tried my best to take advantage of it as best as I could. Coming from our walk of life to go to college. I think I was one of the first males on your side of the family to graduate with my associate degree. I took pride in that. And a lot of my cousins, I can name 10 cousins that have felonies. I have friends that have done hundreds of years. I have friends that's still locked up now. They got locked up when we were 16, 17 years old, and I'm 46 now. So to see those things, I thank God for the wisdom that he gave me to not test the waters like they did. But a lot of the times when those type of situations happen, the mother was on drugs or the father wasn't there. So I was blessed to be a part of a blended family because it allowed me to take my life to another level where I could start a family and break the cycle that fatherless children have. So that's definitely all due to you and setting that good example and not wavering, always fighting a good fight. So it's definitely a blessing to be your son and to be Jeff's son as well, and allowing God to be who he is in our lives, because like I said, I could have rebelled. I could have just said, hey,
and I think all of you guys did. And I think that's a natural response, though. In the beginning, every one of you guys had your own issue. Brianna had hers, Tia had hers, Jerome had his, and you had yours. Because I think you all were trying to find your place. And if I knew, like my mother used to say, if I knew then like I know now, I think we handled it okay, but we didn't understand it the way we understand it now. So Greg, I want to ask you, and we're going to wrap it up after this. I have two more things. What would you say? Because I know at a point in time in your life, when you were 9 years old, you went through, just had a meltdown, related to your biological father. So I don't want you to think so much about that, but I want you to, if you had to say something now to your 9-year-old self, what would you say?
Speaking to my 9-year-old self, I would say, don't forget to pray. I can remember taking the initiative to want to go to church, and that was pretty much like a big part of me dedicating my life to God. Not being perfect, but having a relationship with God. So I wanted to go to church.
You were 9 when you got baptized, remember?
Yeah, and I do remember that. So that was all you, like the 9-year-old part, because I think you wanted me to get back. I think I said I wanted to get baptized. I can remember I had on a yellow jumpsuit, a yellow jogging suit and stuff like that. But I would say thank you to the 9-year-old me. Thank you for deciding to dedicate my soul to Jesus, dedicating myself to the Lord. Because I think that's what counted. When things got tough, that 9-year-old me ran the right way. And so I think God made me a promise back then that he still has with me to this day. So I would have to tell the 9-year-old me thank you. And that's all I could really say. Thank you. Because like I said, a lot of the things that I've seen my peers go through were pretty much things that could have been avoided.
Mm.
And we have a tendency to blame others for our shortcomings, but we're responsible for ourselves. So I'm just glad that wisdom was there at 9 years old to say, hey, I want to go get baptized.
I need the Lord.
Yeah, I think God gonna save me, you know. And I after that, I don't remember going to church that often. But when Jeff came into our lives, that's one of the things that I feel really made a difference. He put the church, he put God in the house. And so even though we were going through our things, we still made it to church every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was dedicated. He led his family.
Yeah.
And so that's what I would say to a lot of the blended families. Just make sure you're putting God in the middle of it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
God has to be the source to take something that wasn't even thought about being what it is to something that, looking at my sisters, my Brianna, she looks like my mother.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah, we
so
talked about that.
yeah,
Yes.
so looking at me and Jeff, we look
They're
like
favor-
brothers.
I said
So,
that. You guys favor, yeah.
But yeah, I was just joking with that part.
Y'all do favor a little bit.
And it's a little challenging when you try to make it make sense, because
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense.
It does not make sense.
You know, but and that's the thing. Our blended family wouldn't be what it is without the head.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
leading us to the vision that he saw even years ago.
That's
so
right. That's right.
yeah.
So what would you say to, and we're one more thing,
Okay.
what would you say, look in your camera, and I just want you to encourage those that are watching us. I want you to encourage those that are a part of a blended family, whether it's the children that are young, or even if the children went through a blended family experience, or they're still in it now. What would you say to them? And then after you share your words of encouragement or enlightenment, I want you to pray.
Okay. Put me on the spot, but yes.
You got this.
What I would say to the blended families, you have to make sure you keep God in the middle of what you're trying to accomplish in order to allow it to mix the right way. It's like with a blended family, for me, it's like mistakes were made before those two people met. So in order for those mistakes to be corrected, God has to be the one to be in the middle of that in order to put it in the proper perspective and to correct all of the mistakes you made before you guys met. It's important for the man to lead. I would say trust in the head of the house who's leading the right way, because the blended family also can be people who get together for the wrong reason. But if it's blessed by God, keep trusting and believing God. Whatever situation that you're going through with the blending of the families, just keep believing, stay positive. The time goes by so fast, and don't put your hands on each other. Don't create scars that will be hard to fix. Let God be God in that situation and trust in God. That would be the main thing. Trust in God and allow time to bring things together the way that they're supposed to be. Now when I see my brothers and my sisters on the holidays and whenever I see them, it's like it's no such thing as a blended family with us.
No
So
steps. No steps.
yeah, you have to really be down for them when they need you, when they down and out, as well as the good times too. But stay focused on God to make sure that it comes together the way that it's supposed to. With a good leader, it will definitely work itself out, and that's just what I feel from what I've seen and what I've experienced. Father God, right now I just come before you, Lord, just praying for all the black men out there, Lord, that are trying to make it, Lord. And I pray for their children. I pray for the young black men and women out there, Lord, that really need you, Lord, that really need to hear from you right now. Lord, I ask that you cover them, God. I ask that you lead them in the right direction. Lord, give them that extra boost of energy to get to what it is they're trying to accomplish. Keep them safe, Lord. Lord, give them a mentor, God. Open the eyes up of the older generation, Lord, to help start trying to lead our youth, Lord. Lord, give us an extra portion of your strength, of your love, Lord. Teach us how to love each other more, God, right now, because what we have right now, Lord, we are hurting each other, God, and that's not your will, God. I ask that you allow me to be stronger, Lord, for the sake of the people that I come across, Lord. Teach us to be good to one another, Lord. Cut out all of the strife and the discord and the hate that's over the email, over the internet, Lord. Lord, I ask that you continue to keep us safe coming and going, Lord. Give us financial blessings, Lord, that we could become entrepreneurs, that we could become the leaders that we were called to be, God. Lord, I ask that person that wants to continue pursuing their education, to encourage them to continue to pursue their education, God. Encourage them to keep on moving forward and focusing. Even though it may not seem that it can happen right now, Lord, keep that fire lit, Lord. Keep that fire lit in them so they can continue to move forward, Lord. I ask that you bless all of the households out there, Lord, that are trying to stay together for the sake of you, God, for the sake of the good, God. Bless that man, bless that woman, bless those children, bless their house. Lord, keep them safe coming and going. Father God, allow someone that doesn't know you to get to know you, God. Open up your mouth and thank God for what he has done for you. Open up your mouth and thank God because it could be worse. Just make sure to keep God first in your life. Even though when you feel like he's not first, just know that he still has his hand on you. And it will always work out if you keep the promises that God has given you. It will always work out for the good. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Wow. Woo. Well, the Lord done did it again. Wow. Well, we have another Taking My Life Back warrior. Let's welcome him to the Taking My Life Back warrior family. Yes.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for being so transparent and open and just so full of wisdom and encouragement for me and for the people. So I'm so glad that you decided to do this. You just don't know how many people this is going to bless.
Thank you for having me, and I really do appreciate the opportunity to share my part of the story of a blended family. And I'm happy to be a part of the movement.
We're so glad to have you. So glad to have you. Well, we're not going to belabor the time. So with that being said, Gregory, we love you and we appreciate you being a part of this warrior family. So your responsibility is to do the work to take your life back, whatever that looks like for you. Whatever it is for you, you might decide to go for a jog around the neighborhood one day, or you might decide to go to work out with Papa Jeff here.
Right now.
I wouldn't go work out with Papa Jeff either.
He ain't gonna have me not going to work.
I know that's right.
I have to call off. I go with him to work out.
Right. Well, we thank you guys for joining us. We pray that something was said, that you heard something that encouraged you today. Again, I want to encourage you to take your life back. I want to encourage you to do the work. I want you to make a decision to take your life back. You are worth the work. You are worth the effort. You are worth putting in the things that you need to do to make a difference in your own life. I know you might be waiting for somebody else to come and rescue you, but God already gave you what you need to rescue yourself. Put your hand in his hand and put your faith to work and begin to take your life back. Again, I want you to go to the website. It's ReginaHolidayMinistries.com. And I want you to take those 2 steps to become a Taking My Life Back warrior too. I would love to hear your story, why you decided to take your life back, what you're doing to take your life back. I'm sure it's going to be an encouragement to me and so many others. So until we meet again back here on the Taking My Life Back set, I pray that God will continue to richly bless you and keep you, as always our prayer. God bless.
Can I say one thing before we go?
Okay, I'm not going to wave yet. Okay, go ahead.
God
go ahead, Greg.
On my heart.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
To all the young black men out there, put the guns down. Stop killing yourself. Don't wake up tomorrow in jail with your life gone because you made a dumb decision in the spur of the moment.
My God.
Put the guns down. Stop killing each other. We got to stop killing each other.
My God. Well, we're going to end on that note. I pray that touched somebody's heart. I pray that it encouraged somebody to make a different decision. So God bless you all. And we will see you back here on the next segment of Taking My Life Back, the movement. Now we can say bye.
See you guys
God
later.
bless.
God bless y'all.